Namaste, everybody. Namaste, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you.
So the CNN News 18 Town Hall comes back into the national capital on a day where we have a town hall happening in your uru, sir, Bengaluru.
Let's call it a town hall. If you want to equate what's going on here with the group of people who are trying desperately to be relevant in Bengaluru, you did it, I didn't do it. Look, this is a democracy. People are free to do what they want to do. People are free to align with who they want to align with. And people are also free to be deluded into believing that they can do something that they cannot. So it's fine.
You believe it's a delusion, but a Congress is ready to back an AAP ordinance in Delhi. Those who got ousted are now coming together. They seem to be determined to keep the BJP out.
Look, I'm not approaching this as a minister or as a politician, but just as common sense tells me that if your entire unity, if you want to call it that, is about disliking one person, and that you have nothing positive to offer to 1.2 billion Indian, 1.3 billion Indians who are all very anxious now, keen to see India develop, continue the type of development that we have seen in the last 9 years. And all you have is essentially gali galoch, as they say in Hindi, or fear-mongering and appeasement. If that's all you have in 2023 after 76 years of independence, then I think the people of India will certainly speak in 2024 as they have in 2019 and as they have in 2014. And the people of India know exactly what the future holds for them, what the opportunities are, and what the potential of this great nation is now unfolding in front of their eyes. And I can't imagine anybody who's a right-thinking person, who cares about his family, will ever want to derail this momentum or slow down this momentum in any way, just because a group of people who between them cannot succeed think that sum of a few zeros is more than a zero.
But wherever the opposition has consolidated, BJP has seen reversals. Be it Bengal, be it in Karnataka, whenever consolidation has happened, it's been
I think
tough mountain to climb for the BJP.
So, yeah, look, I'm not denying that there is some of that electoral arithmetic that is at play, but you will notice that at every one of those states that you mentioned, our vote share has always increased. The popularity for BJP and the Honorable Prime Minister has always seen an increase. Even in Karnataka, despite a really, let's say, less than truthful campaign run by the Congress party, we managed to retain a vote share. So I think the issue is really that there are some people who think that these elections in our great democracy is about political arithmetic. And we are certainly out there to prove that it is really about doing things for the people, building a better future. And that is the best way to, in a sense, demolish all of these conventional ways of looking at politics and democracy in India.
Do you believe there is somebody, a face in the opposition that can challenge the BJP and the BJP leadership in 2024?
I mean, I can see 15 faces. All of them on a good day don't get along with each other. So, look, that's not our business. That is certainly not on the list of priorities for the BJP to pick out who their face should be. They will pick out a face, but that is not the point. I don't think elections, especially in this reawakened India, this new India that is really marching forward, I don't think it's about a face. It is really about what is it that you're offering the young Indians, what is it that your economic ideology is, what is your economic thought. And I think in any democracy, if there's a healthy debate of ideas, it's a good thing. But if somebody is believing that a group of dynasts can get together and hark back to those good old days when the grandmother was in power and the father was in power and oh, I wish I could all get those cozy days back again, I think that train has left the station. This is certainly a new India, and today people want their political parties to deliver, to give them more and more opportunities, take the country forward, and not take it back to the same old unstable political coalitions, the same old weak economics, the same old appeasement type of social chaos. So I think in a lot of ways, I think India has long since left this type of politics behind.
But how is the BJP any different from Congress of the yore? Because the BJP is also bringing in new partners erstwhile. You're also looking at stitching up coalitions.
Yeah, no, I kind of expected this question, and when I was looking at my schedule this morning, I certainly was sure that you'd spring this on me. Look, the BJP is a party that is very clear in terms of what we stand for. We are very clear about what we want to do in terms of the country's economy, what we want to do, and what we have done in terms of taking care of the challenges that haven't been solved for several decades in India. And if other parties have begun to see, traditional parties who have allied with the same old type of politics, if they're suddenly beginning to see that the direction that India is going in is a direction that makes them less relevant if they are not allied with BJP, I think there is absolutely no fault, there's no problem with that. The BJP is a party that has repeatedly said we have no problem with parties coming and joining our fold as long as we continue the journey. Now, I know the cynics in politics and cynics in amongst journalism say, no, but this, but that, you said this and you said that. But the way to measure us post anybody joining our alliance is, have we changed our direction? Have we changed our political ideology? Have we changed our thought? Have we changed our governance? Have we changed anything that we want to say we want to achieve for the country?
But allow me to press you there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. If you look at O.P. Rajbhar, Ajit Pawar, now there is talk about H.D. Devegowda and the JDS. Them aligning, the larger arithmetic is that you want 6-7% consolidation, so you go up from 52-53% to 58-59%. Now, that's a bold consideration. Even if JDU were to break up and come, you have Jitan Ram Manjhi coming in. How are they ideologically linked to the BJP? Is the BJP not in danger of diluting its own ideological platform?
No, and I think in these town halls you will have people who are much more senior than me in the overall political ecosystem.
I'm asking you because you're an independent MP. Now you're part of the BJP, so I'm asking you this.
No, I absolutely see no problem, and I don't see any reason for us to be remotely defensive about parties stepping up who have traditionally not supported us and saying, no, we support the BJP in its efforts to build this new India, to become the third largest economy in the world, create for the first time ever since independence, true resolution of poverty. I see absolutely no problem with that. But if you think that by parties supporting us, we dilute the goals that we have set for the country, that our Prime Minister has set in terms of direction and vision for our country, that certainly is not going to happen. In a lot of ways, what is going to certainly happen, the space that has been left for dynastic parties that have practiced this kind of appeasement politics, this kind of freebie politics for many, many decades and years, is reducing. The optics of going to Patna, optics of going to Bengaluru, is in my mind something very different from how you are seeing it. I see this almost like a desperate last stand to create relevance for this type of politics, which I believe is diminishing in favor, diminishing in terms of its returns politically. And so therefore, if parties now begun, and I heard the quote from somebody in the NCP that says, look, we went to Patna and I almost laughed because there were a whole bunch of people with no MPs, and a whole bunch of people with one MP, and then the whole bunch of people with few MPs. And they all got together to try and argue a case that they were doing something fresh and new for the country. They are actually, in a sense, the legacy of the last 65 years of everything that was wrong with Indian politics. So I think, look, we are, as Zaka correctly said at the beginning of the show, we are hitting 2024 elections soon around the corner in a few months. You will see a repeat of what we saw in 2019. You will see a repeat of what we saw in 2014. Maybe a little bit more frantic, maybe a little bit more jointmanship in that. But it is going to be more of the same, which is basically to flay things around, say things that can distract the voter, and say anything but the last 9 years of achievement and progress. That is their objective, and our objective is absolutely the reverse, that which is we will keep repeating what we have done in the last 9 years and what was not done in the last 65 years.
But do you think you've been able to actually communicate and own the narratives? When we talk of critical legislations, which is for the greater good of the country, that's what it was supposed to be, say the CAA or even the farm laws, did you succeed or did you fail?
No. So, look, I mean, I can tell you 100 things that we succeeded in. I'm not saying our hit rate on success has been 100%, but I certainly I can tell you with absolutely all confidence that every effort at legislation, every reform that has been put forth has been for the good of India and good for the people. Maybe sometimes the noise and the misinformation have submerged the benefits that could have come out of those bills. And so therefore, we are living in a digital age. We are living where social media certainly can create a noisiness and static and all of that. And misinformation has the power to sway people. Misinformation has the power to certainly swamp the truth and elevate the lies. And that plays to the strengths of some political parties who actually live on a politics of misinformation and lies. So maybe those are the reasons for it. I certainly agree that at least on one or two cases which were really good for the country and good for the people, we could not take it forward.
No, but as Maiti Mantri and somebody who's a champion of AI, this AI doesn't seem to be favorably coded for the BJP. If you're saying social media is largely captured by those who amplify misinformation.
No, look, there are two ways of approaching misinformation. We can do what the Congress did during the UPA, which is to put everybody in jail who did a cartoon or did something satirical, misuse the Section 66A, and that is now being done in West Bengal. That is being done, of course, in Kerala, where they should have been the pioneers of it, given their Marxist background, and also being done by the Congress government in Karnataka. But look, for us, we certainly don't believe misinformation is the same as right to free speech. But there is this debate going on about how do we deal with misinformation. And so we don't want to be heavy-handed about it. We certainly want there to be a consensus where we create almost a national consensus or public opinion that right to free speech should not be conflated with and equated with the power and weaponization of misinformation. And especially in a democracy like ours, where we have now 85 crore Indians online, 120 crore Indians are going to be using the internet by 2025, that misinformation can be truly weaponized and used against not just the state, can be used against individuals, used against organizations, etc. So our approach is getting more and more people on board to understand that these are problems, and then to legislate around the problem rather than to use a stick. And as a consequence, we pay the price for it.
But one of the criticisms for the government is that you allow industries to flourish and then you decide to legislate. Now, the gaming industry is the latest, which is a little upset.
No, yeah. Again, I think this is being oversimplistic. The GST Council's findings is the GST Council. I make an effort to clarify, is not the government of India. The GST Council, as you know, is represented by all the state governments, so it is truly a federal organization, and state governments and state finance ministers and the government of India have come together and created a GST framework. Now that is a consequence of 3 years of work that they have done. And while we may quibble with what they have found and what they have not done, and the industry seems to be unhappy with it, we have to also recognize that the process of creating a regulatory framework for online gaming is only started in January of 2023. And we are only in the early stages, nascent stages of creating a predictable, sustainable, permissible online gaming framework. And so we will do that, and we will go back to the GST Council and maybe request their consideration on the facts of the new regulatory framework. But I hear the noise, and I hear some people saying it's anti-constitutional and XYZ, and sorry to say this, but they're totally, certainly wrong.
But as a techpreneur and a neta, do you sometimes have a confusion? Which side of the fence am I sitting in?
No, I think it is better to slowly progress and evolve these frameworks that are sustainable than doing things in a hurry just because you are reacting to a soundbite or to an angry industry or an angry startup, and then create downstream mistakes. We believe today, and the Prime Minister is very clear on, in the digital space, do everything that from a perspective of the next decade, the India decade. So the laws, the rules, all go through detailed, deep consultation with stakeholders, and then we get people on board. The online gaming rules that have come out went through almost 3.5 months of consultation. And I want to tell you that what the government started with and what we ended with were totally different as a consequence of the consultation. So it's better to do it right than to do it fast.
Okay, so there's still hope for the gaming industry. You're saying you may go back to the GST Council. I have limited time, so one more important aspect. Interestingly, ladies and gentlemen, as an independent MP, he championed the cause of Christian women in the Coorg and Mysore regions in Karnataka to get them the right for inheritance. So let me ask you, sir, is UCC a poll gambit by the BJP? Why are you waking up to it after 9 years? Or do you really believe that the time is right for a common civil code?
Look, I mean, I am nobody to say whether the time is right or the time is not right. I was recently in Kerala and I had somebody put a mic in front of my face and said, the CPM is doing a workshop on the UCC. And I asked them how many women were in the workshop. And it turns out that they had invited no women. But they were waxing eloquent about UCC being this terrible thing. What the Honorable Prime Minister said in Bhopal is worth repeating and repeating again. Because he said something in the context of Tushtikaran, appeasement. And he asked a question to the country. Why is it that something that our founding fathers, including Dr. Ambedkar ji, why is it that something that Article 44 in the Constitution, why is it that something that Supreme Court and the courts of the land have said should be done, has not been done, which is the Universal Civil Code, Uniform Civil Code? That was the question he asked. He never said that we are bringing it. He never said there is a draft. Now, instead of answering the question that he has posed, for which the answer is very clear, it is appeasement politics of the last 65 years. Instead of that, the opposition parties, especially the Congress, are speaking to the UCC about everything but that. And I think it is worth asking that question again and again. I certainly don't want to give you my views on whether there should be a UCC or not. I can certainly tell you that as I travel around the country and I meet people and I talk to them about many other things, when this topic comes up, the overwhelming sense that I get that India is a great country, we are going places, we are becoming an economic power, and there should be certainly one type of citizen, and therefore there should be one broad uniform citizen. This is what people tell me. I don't have a view on it.
So even in matrilineal societies like Kerala, in Nagaland, they're saying, what about the tribals?
No, so
if you have a UCC, can we have exemptions?
No, I don't want to be drawn into a controversy about what is it going to be. There is no draft. Nobody knows about what it says and what it doesn't say. All today we are talking about is that these basic principles of uniformity in adoption, inheritance, women's rights have been flagged by our founding father, Dr. Ambedkar ji said it. The Supreme Court has said it. The Constitution says it. So the question that has to be asked today is why have we as a country on the move not done it for the last so
it's
years?
Not a poll gambit to break some votes, get the women from certain sections towards the BJP?
We don't do anything that is a poll gambit, but I certainly think the conduct of political parties who were in charge of government for the last 65 years, what they did not do is legitimate for any debate and discourse by those now pretending that they should be, they should be sort of considered for a vote in the 2024 elections.
Rajeev ji, final 3 minutes I have on my clock. So you have a placard right to your right next to you, to your right, there, just below your phone. So you can keep your folder there. And you have to just see it's yes and no. So some questions which will be yes and no. Okay, and we'll see how we go. Okay. My first question is, कुर्सी कंफर्टेबल है? आप कुर्सी पे कंफर्टेबल हैं?
ये कुर्सी पे?
Pun is intended, sir.
Okay, I'm fine. Okay.
Okay. Are you keen to contest Lok Sabha 2024?
I'm keen to do whatever my bosses tell me to do.
Okay. Plan to shift from Bengaluru to Kannur?
To Kannur?
Kerala? To contest from Kerala, so your sites.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to move
no, sites in Kerala. So that's what I'm saying.
Again, I think beyond a yes or a no, I don't know.
Okay. Would you want anyone from your family to consider joining politics? Okay. Have you ever started a speech and realized, "Arey, ye to galat wala pad raha hu"? Never. Okay. Rajeev Chandrasekhar ko gussa aata hai? Okay.
Kabhi-kabhi.
Kabhi-kabhi. Okay. Rajeev Chandrasekhar पे किसी को गुस्सा आता है?
I have no idea. That is, somebody else has to answer that question.
Do you see an AI-powered anchor interviewing you in the near future?
Oh, absolutely.
गई अपनी नौकरी खतरे में. Okay. Do you have days when you think, let me just go back to corporate?
No, never.
No?
Not since 2006, no.
Not since 2006. Okay. Ever had a heated debate with somebody in parliament and then 15 minutes later you're having chai in the canteen? Opposition?
Yeah, of course.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. My final question to you is, PM Modi se, PM sir se kabhi dant padi hai? Or he's ever praised you? Feel good moment?
No, again, I don't know if there's a yes or no, but I don't think he has praised me, but certainly he has pointed out when I've been wrong, or when I have not done, we have not done the homework as much as he wanted us to do it.
So did you smash a few TVs in the office after that?
No, of course.
No. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji.
Thank you.
We have just 20 seconds on the clock, so I'm going to check if we can take one question if it is possible.
Yes,
do we
yes,
have the time?
Anand, I've been told that Dr. Sanjeev Bagai over here has a question.
Oh, Dr. Bagai is here. Namaste, sir. Good to have you here at our scene in News18 Townhall. Ji.
Evening, sir. First, I want to thank the Indian government and the media, all sections of media, for such a successful campaign, not only from fighting COVID, but the largest, fastest, and the safest vaccine campaign to fight COVID. I think India has done one amongst the better countries worldwide. Having said that, what really helped was the COVID app. What really helped was the seamless connectivity in terms of the digitalization. My questions are two, sir. One is, can we have a framework in which the smaller units of public health and private healthcare to have more digitalized formats going forward? And the second question is, can we have our own Indian but international pandemic alert center? We should not rely on any data from overseas when it concerns the Indian subcontinent. Yep. John Hopkins is good, Mayo is good, India is better. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Both of them, I will say yes. They are not really my domain. It's Mansukh Bhai Manvia's domain, both of them. But certainly the need for a platform to include and allow integration of all health and wellness providers is a good idea, and I think they're already working on it, the Health Ministry. On the other issue, I'll certainly escalate it or pass it on to Dr. Manvia.
One more? Anybody else? Yes. Shireen, my colleague, will come to you, so please wait. And I have a request. Please keep your questions short so that we can hear a longer answer from the Minister.
Sir, you just mentioned about getting inheritance rights for women in Coorg. So if we have the UCC, can we women in the country hope that there will be centralized inheritance laws for women all over the country, and inheritance will no longer be a state subject? Because very often, especially being in Delhi, as a lawyer, I come across women from the state of Uttar Pradesh primarily, who are denied any rights of inheritance in the property. So while we are talking about UCC, let us have a centralized uniform law for inheritance for women.
Yeah, I think your point is right, and I think there should be. I just want to touch on what Anand mentioned. Even I was surprised that this lady, who was a friend of our families, who was a Catholic lady in Bengaluru, because she was born in one of the three districts in Karnataka, the Indian Succession Act in 1858 had been amended to disallow Catholic daughters from inheriting. And because her father loved her so much, father told her, why don't you go talk to Rajeev and see if we can get this amended, and we got it amended. So today, Catholic
Yeah,
women...
but one thing there, we must give credit where it is due. The Law Minister then, Sadananda Gowda ji, said it in Parliament and the answer to his query.
Yes.
But then it was Siddaramaiah ji, the Congress government, which
absolutely.
actually repealed the act. So
Because it was the state law.
it is a state law.
The state law.
So credit goes where it is due, be it government or opposition. Final question, 1 minute on the clock.
All right, one more question over here.
So my name is Barkat Rehan. I have a very short question for you. Since we were discussing UCC, sir, will UCC, you just now said the draft, nobody has seen the draft. But still, sir, you might be talking in the parliament about it. So I want to know, will UCC cover all genders? That is male, female and transgenders. Will all genders be on the same platform? Same law, one
Right.
one nation, one law?
Okay, ma'am.
First of all, I want to be very clear, and I said this in the response to Anand, despite his major efforts at baiting me on this, that there is no such thing. What the Prime Minister said in Bhopal was about why there was no UCC so far. So if you're asking me what is in the UCC, I certainly don't know, and I don't think anybody knows. This is to provoke a discussion about why for the last 65 years there has not been a UCC.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rajeev Chandrasekhar ji, and from one Malayali to the other who's already in the house, Dr. Shashi Tharoor is also there. Good evening, sir. Thank you, sir. Big round of applause.